Imagine a world filled with music. The gentle hum of a piano, the sweeping crescendos of an orchestra, the quiet rustle of notes floating in the air. Now imagine that world gradually fading into silence. This was the world of Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the greatest geniuses of all time. Born in 1770 in Bonn, Germany, Beethoven's life would be a journey marked by brilliance, struggle, and an unbreakable spirit. He transformed the experience of music, redefining what was possible in composition, expression, and human creativity. Beethoven's genius lay not just in talent, but in his ability to channel suffering into beauty, chaos into harmony, and personal adversity into timeless art. Ludwig van Beethoven was born into a family of musicians. His father, Johann van Beethoven, was a talented but troubled man. He recognized his son's extraordinary musical potential early on, but he was also harsh, demanding, and sometimes cruel. Johann forced young Ludwig to practice for hours on end, often waking him in the middle of the night to ensure he didn't miss a session. Yet in this strict environment, something remarkable emerged. Beethoven's fingers danced across keyboards and strings with a natural fluency, and his understanding of melody, harmony, and rhythm far surpassed his years. By the age of 7, he was performing publicly, astonishing audiences with both technical skill and emotional depth. Beethoven's early life was a mix of discipline, hardship, and early triumphs. He was not only learning music, he was learning how to endure, how to focus, and how to turn pressure into creative energy. This early tension between brilliance and adversity would define his life and art. In his early 20s, Beethoven made a bold decision. He would leave Bonn and travel to Vienna, the epicenter of European music. The city was alive with culture, wealth, and competition. Palaces and concert halls buzzed with activity, but it was also a city of harsh realities for artists without patronage. Beethoven immersed himself in Vienna's musical world, studied under Joseph Haydn, one of the most prominent composers of the time. Yet he quickly realized he had his own path to follow. Beethoven was not a man to imitate others. He wanted to innovate, to challenge conventions, and to make music that expressed human emotion. Vienna offered him exposure, connections, and inspiration, but it was also the stage on which he would confront the most devastating challenge of his life, his hearing loss. In his late 20s, Beethoven began experiencing tinnitus, persistent ringing, and eventually, profound deafness. For a man whose life was inseparable from sound, this was a catastrophe. Imagine a composer unable to hear the piano keys he had mastered, unable to feel the vibrations of the orchestra he had conducted. Beethoven faced a choice: surrender to despair or find a new way to create. Refusing to give up, Beethoven developed an extraordinary inner ear. He heard music in his mind, feeling its structure, harmony, and emotion. It was during this period of struggle that he composed some of his most innovative and powerful works, including piano sonatas and symphonies. Even in near-total silence, Beethoven's imagination allowed him to compose music that seemed to speak directly to the soul. Beethoven was a man of contradictions. He was passionate, stubborn, and often irritable, yet he was deeply sensitive to beauty. He struggled with personal relationships, financial instability, and health issues, yet he poured all his energy into music. He walked the streets of Vienna alone, scribbling notes on scraps of paper, or sitting for hours at the piano lost in thought. Beethoven's life was not glamorous. It was filled with struggle, loneliness, and relentless work. And yet this very struggle infused his music with intensity, depth, and universality. Beethoven's music was revolutionary. He took classical forms and infused them with emotion, power, and dramatic storytelling. The iconic Fifth Symphony begins with the famous da-da-dum motifa, simple rhythm that has become the sound of fate itself. The Ninth Symphony, with its ode to joy, celebrates humanity, freedom, and universal brotherhood. Even his piano sonatas, such as the Moonlight Sonata, carry layers of emotion that range from melancholy to triumph. Throughout his life, Beethoven faced challenges that could have destroyed a lesser man: deafness, family disputes, and health problems. He transformed pain into beauty, isolation into art, and limitations into opportunities for innovation. His resilience is part of what makes him a hero, not just of music, but of the human spirit. Beethoven's later years were increasingly difficult. His deafness became nearly total, and his health deteriorated. He passed away in 1827 in Vienna. His funeral drew thousands, reflecting the deep impact he had on his contemporaries. Even today, Beethoven's music is a living testament to his genius. It continues to be performed worldwide, inspiring musicians and listeners alike. Beethoven was more than a composer. He was a visionary, a revolutionary, and a symbol of resilience. He proved that even silence could be transformed into symphony, and that creativity can flourish even under the greatest adversity. Beethoven's life is a melody in itself, complex, passionate, and eternal. Every note carries a piece of his soul, inviting us to listen, to feel, and to remember that true art comes from the courage to turn struggle into beauty.